If you haven't watched part 1 yet, go back and watch that first, because what happens next is even darker, more disturbing, and far more dangerous. By the late 1970s, Ed and Lorraine Warren were no longer just investigators. They were legends in the world of the paranormal. But with every new case, the stakes grew higher. The entities they faced became more violent, more intelligent, and far more sinister. And some of their most terrifying encounters were yet to come. In 1977, the Warrens were called to Enfield, England, where a single mother and her children were being terrorized by strange forces. Furniture moved on its own. Objects flew across rooms. The youngest daughter spoke in a deep, guttural voice that claimed to belong to an old man. Skeptics called it a hoax, but police officers, journalists, and neighbors all witnessed events they could not explain. Ed and Lorraine believed the haunting was not a ghost, but a demonic entity using the family as a vessel. This terrifying case would later become the basis for the Conjuring 2. Just a few years earlier, the Warrens had investigated what would become their most infamous case, the Amityville Horror. In 1974, a man named Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered his entire family in their home. A year later, the Lutz family moved in and fled after just 28 days, claiming the house was infested with evil. Ed and Lorraine's investigation led them to believe the property was tainted by a powerful demonic presence. The story captured worldwide attention and spawned dozens of books and films, forever cementing the house's place in horror history. Their investigations didn't stop there. In Connecticut, a family moved into a former funeral home and began experiencing violent supernatural events, visions of corpses, scratches, and dark apparitions. The Warrens believed necromantic rituals had left behind a malignant energy that attacked the living. This inspired The Haunting in Connecticut. And perhaps their most controversial case of all came in 1981, when a young man named Arne Cheyenne Johnson stabbed his landlord to death and claimed he was possessed by a demon. Months earlier, the Warrens had performed an exorcism on his girlfriend's younger brother, and they believed the demon had transferred itself to Arne during the ritual. In court, his lawyer entered a plea of not guilty by reason of demonic possession, the first time such a defense was attempted in U.S. history. The jury didn't accept it, but Arne served only 5 years of a 10 to 20-year sentence. This case inspired The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. Through it all, the Warrens faced harsh criticism. Skeptics accused them of fabricating stories, exaggerating events, or exploiting belief for fame. But to the countless families they helped, they were saviors, people who stood between them and unimaginable evil. Ed passed away in 2006, and Lorraine continued her work until her death in 2019. Together, they left behind a legacy of fear, faith, and fascination. Their occult museum still houses hundreds of cursed artifacts, including the infamous Annabelle doll, and their case files continue to inspire books, documentaries, and films. Some believe Ed and Lorraine Warren were storytellers. Others believe they were warriors, soldiers in a war most of us can't see. But whether you believe or not, the truth is this: the stories behind The Conjuring, Annabelle, Amityville, and The Devil Made Me Do It didn't begin in Hollywood. They began in real houses, with real families, facing something beyond explanation. And perhaps the most chilling part of all is that their most terrifying case may not have been discovered yet.